Well, everything down here is about as good as it's going to be. We do need to work on the ventilation just a wee bit, though, but... There we are. If we can hook all of this together... Like, for example, this is just getting vented. But that is absolutely not what I want. I want all the CO2 to go that way. I mean, it's not good CO2. To be fair, it's cold, but... We can always do something with it. CO2 from over here is much better. Yeah, I really do think the idea of just piping CO2 from the rest of the base down here is a solid goal. Do I care to bring it down in insulated? I don't. I really don't. Alright, let's go ahead and mop this up if we can, whilst continuing to build this up. Really? Get out of it. But I think this may be a decent little system. It'll allow us to cool down CO2 that we bring in from potentially three different areas. We'll send out one single pipe of CO2. It's good enough, I think, for now. But we are going to want to make sure that we are temperature checking the CO2 that's leaving this system. How we do that will depend a little bit. It shouldn't be too rough for us, I don't think. Don't need it to be insulation here. In fact, we could just go with metal tile. And honestly, why not at this stage? Also, if we could get this place swept, that would be grand. I'm not going to remove that area because it's abyssalite. It's already an amazing insulator. Don't need to worry about it. But up here we do. That being said, I think we're actually going to end up having to carve out all of this abyssalite. Ugh. What a waste. Alright. Might as well. If I'm going to do it, I may as well commit to it. Now, with that in place... There we go. Now, if we're going to start doing this, then we don't want to nix the CO2. And actually... Thinking about it, I may actually want to pump in more CO2 than I have available, because the thing I would like to do is if I could push all of the CO2 I've got into this room, heating it up, sending it back out, and then if it has nowhere to go, venting it in space. That would actually be a pretty useful system for me, I think. That would be a better way to take the CO2. One problem I have with Weeping Angels from Doctor Who is that they will run into the ground. Yeah, it's kind of like the Daleks, really. They became less frightening the more and more they were used. That'll happen, though. And you've got to be honest, I really enjoyed Capaldi's Doctor. Because he kind of harkened back to the more rough doctors of the past. Where he was... how to put it? He was more broken in certain ways. He'd seen too much. all that time. Mind you, to be honest, Tennant did a really good job of it. He kind of was very, very sad. And in a way, Matt Smith's Doctor as well. But I don't know, there was something about Capaldi that harkened back to the old school Doctors. Tennant... I think Tennant's Doctor was... I feel like Capaldi's Doctor, you could believe hated certain things. You couldn't believe that of Tennant's Doctor. But I felt that the Doctor was a more richer character when he did have vices. When he wasn't perfect. When there were certain things that he did hate. And especially with Capaldi, because he hated them in himself. He hated the Daleks. But he hated himself more because he hated the Daleks. Because he recognized that, yes, he does hate them. He wants to wipe them out. And I think Eccleston had that a bit as well, to be honest. I think Eccleston had that kind of darkness there that was self-aware. It wasn't dark just for the sake of it. It was dark because it been through stuff. And kind of wished it wasn't, but accepted that it was. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense a bit, because I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it. But that was some of the stuff that I liked about Capaldi. Capaldi felt raw. Felt raw in its flaws and self-awareness of those flaws. But to be honest, I think all of the New Who's had a certain element about them that was just fantastic. I don't think you can just sit there and say, okay, this person was objectively the best. I don't think that's possible. I think certain ones had amazing moments and amazing qualities, and all of them had at least one of them. One of those amazing qualities. One of those kind of defining characteristics in the way they played the Doctor that was inspired. Some of it was like, oh, really, writers, let them just stop. Please. You've gotten too far. I'm not sure if Tennant's in my favour. Tennant's really high up there. There's part of me that I think would quickly point to Tennant and say, yeah, that was one of my favourites of the New Who's, but I'm not sure. I think that's a reaction. If I was asked, I'd be like, yeah, Tennant's my fave, of course. But if I stop and think and try to analyze why, I'd find that one of the others was. I haven't really taken the time to sit down and do it, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that if I was to like quantify them, I've got a sneaking suspicion that I think I may actually end up being Capaldi. If I actually sat down with time and I kind of list out the reasons why I like the Doctors, what I liked about them, what I liked about their tenure and the way they played things. Gotta be honest, I liked Capaldi's no romance angle. I did like that quite a lot, actually. I liked Capaldi's companions. That being said, Rose was kind of in a league of her own, honestly. But I don't know. I think if I really sat down, I'd probably rank Capaldi as my best of the New Who's. Oh, really? Of course. Get that made now. Someone please come and make this now. Snowfoot's about to die. What are you doing? Why are you not building this right now? Oh my lord, don't die, Snowfoot. Ah! Run away! Now! Go! Go now! You've got no air! No time to no time to chit chat with friends. Time to run for breath before death. Should I take off the suit? How much air have you got? Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait. You might be all right. All right. Okay. No time. No time. Drop the suit. Breathe. You're now in an oxygen-dense atmosphere. Ah, you fool. Ah. On the downside, I should have done that when you were in here, because that would have meant that you didn't wee all over the device. What are you? What? Why? No. What? You are made of dumb. I've just been forced to get out of my hermetically sealed Atmo suit that can handle literal dips in lava. You know what I'm gonna do now? I'm just in my birthday suit. Oh, mind you, I've got this snazzy suit, but underneath just my birthday suit, I may as well not be wearing anything at all. I'm gonna go into the industrial furnace because that sounds like a good idea. It's not an industrial sauna, it's an industrial furnace for all intents and purposes. You dummy. Go and rest. Why are you made of dumb? Water. No, I don't need it. For real though, why? Oh, no. Sorry. There we go. Well, here's the question, okay, for the Whovians. We had a bit of a discussion about New Who. Which of the OG Doctors is your favorite? Now, I'm not going to say something trite like this separates the real Doctor Who fans from the ones who are. No, it separates when you watch Doctor Who, or how bored you were one day and you decided to plumb the archives of the BBC. But for those of you who have watched the original Doctor Who's, which of them is your favorite? 4, of course, Scarfman. Okay, I'm going to let you in. Prior to me asking the question, I would have put money on Tom Baker being way up there. Like really a lead by an impressive, like intimidating margin. Tom Baker is definitely my fave. My fave old school Doctor Who. Absolutely. Without doubt, without a moment's hesitation or question, or like, oh, well, that was a reaction. I wonder if I sat down and act. No, I know it's Tom Baker. Not really sure. Kind of watched them in no particular order. And lucky if the PBS station aired an entire plot. Well, yeah, no, that's fair. Though, I'm not going to lie. I spent like a stupid amount of time watching Twitch when it was running all Doctor Who episodes. That was amazing. So good. So good. Bacon and Hartnell. Oh, okay. That's actually pretty. You know what? No, that probably isn't an uncommon combination. That probably isn't an uncommon combination. I'm surprised I'm not seeing Pertwee a little bit more though. Okay. Now, if we were to not include the Daleks, because, duh. But if we were to include the Daleks, who is your favorite villain from the OG episodes? Now, this can include everything. Every plot line. I mean, if your favorite villain was legitimately one of the bit villains, that's fine. You know, that's true. But I'm quite interested in who's like, you know, Master. Yeah. But okay, I'm probably going to see a lot of the Masters actually. Hi. I'm new and tended to my faith. I haven't watched Classic Who. You are missing out, I feel. I think, even if you don't end up liking them, I think they're useful. Like, if you really enjoy Doctor Who, to see where Doctor Who came from. It's like the whole knowing where you come from by seeing where you came from. Sorry, knowing where you're going by seeing where you came from, sort of thing. Yeah, right now, for the classic Doctors for villains, because honestly, some of those were cheesy in a way that, as much as there is crazy amounts of cheese in New Who as well, some of the villains, I mean, it's a sign of the times, I guess, and the budget that was in Doctor Who, but some of those old villains were amazing just because of how stupid they were. They were honestly works of art in just cheesiness. But seriously, if you have an opportunity to look up the original Doctor Who, definitely take it. Absolutely. Again, if you enjoy Doctor Who, even if you don't end up enjoying OG, it's worth it just to have seen it and be familiar with where Doctor Who came from. I think it was very much a product of its time, though, in some ways. Right, I did like how raw the Doctor was in some of the original plot lines, and how flawed. Like I don't know. I like 3-dimensional characters more than the perfect saints and you know mustachio twirling villains. I like though, to be honest, there was a lot of that kind of villain in the original Doctor Who, but I do feel that the original Doctor Who had a very fleshed out character in some ways more than others, but. Okay. I'm going to preempt that because that's going to be a problem later and someone's going to be stuck down here and not be able to get out. It's dormant and there was nothing else rolling around, so I strongly suspect that never did get any motion there. How are you doing? Next dormancy in 25.7 cycles. Okay. How long are you down for? Another 50... another 13.9 cycles I'll be up for. Okay. Well, we want to get this sorted out then fairly soon. Let's hook this one up. Let's make this a little bit more of a priority for our peeps then. Let's go into 7 territory for this. And that includes that. I would like to get this up and running for the Slicksters as quickly as we can, but right now we don't strictly need it. In fact, if I shut down the delivery of water to this, then we're not going to get rid of the CO2 either, which may actually be worth it for us. Allow it to accumulate for a while. Might honestly be worth it for me to let that happen for a bit. Because there's a lot of heat out here, and we want that heat in the CO2 if we can get it there. I'm still allowing all of this CO2 to leave, though, which is perhaps a little bit silly, because it's coming from a very warm room. Where could I fit a gas pump in here? The problem is I don't necessarily want to take the gas out, though. But if I did, I'd want to take the gas out from the bottom. because then I could pump hydrogen in. And again, I could just test to see if this hydrogen before letting it out. Yeah, I could just test for hydrogen. If it's hydrogen, gets vented back into the room. Might not be a bad move, actually. I'd have to deliver hydrogen to the room. Honestly, Matt Smith episodes of Doctor Who, especially that Love Disables the Bomb episode with the World War II planes versus Dalek nonsense, really turned me off Doctor Who. So I never finished Matt Smith and watched like a total of 3 episodes of Capaldi. And I never bothered with anything else. To be honest, Marissa, I kind of feel like that some of the writing in New Who was... it had its moments. And again, like I said, the old Doctor Who was definitely a sign. It weighs the time that it was aired in very much on its sleeves. So they both got issues in their writing for different reasons. But yes, some of the stuff in New Who kind of put me off, and quite a lot of it was the stuff around children and how a parent's love defeats everything. It kind of felt vapid sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if maybe some of the writers were going through family issues or something, because it was really, really rammed, and it didn't feel like much of an interesting sci-fi plot was going on. Sometimes it was amazing, and the writing was spot on, and there were heartwarming moments, and I enjoyed them when they were there. And they didn't feel like someone was clubbing me across the head with some sort of message about family. So yeah, I think I probably know what you mean. But I will defend New Who, and I will say, like, as much as I don't know which one I prefer really between New Who and the OG stuff. But I think there were definitely some points with the old plot lines where it was like, you can tell this was written way back when, my lord. Oh, thank goodness. I thought you just trapped yourself again. I mean, you are a duplicant, so it is a thing, but can we get this analyzed, like, really, really urgently? How hot is this going to be? It's 150C, so I do kind of need to insulate it, yeah. But I don't think there's no way I can afford to insulate it all the way up there in ceramic. So I'll just go with igneous rock for the most ways. Whee! There is something so incredibly satisfying about the xylophone building. So satisfying. I kind of want to hook up to the main reservoir, because this, more than any of the other pipes that contain natural gas, has the capacity to contain a lot of it. Let me just check in chat for a moment. I wouldn't say Clara was the worst companion. I kind of liked some of the story that was written around Clara. Honestly, I liked the idea of Clara being an anomaly through time. And then when that was explained, I thought, oh, that was actually quite clever. And I'm not going to say, I don't think she was at all one of the worst companions. But I do feel that in some ways, I don't know. Like I said, some of the writing was really, really felt like I was being smacked with it. Honestly, just because 13 is a woman, and I want to see how that plays out, especially if she interacts with past companions at all, I have been tempted. But I just haven't bothered. So much other stuff that I know I will enjoy. Yeah, you know what? That's completely valid. You know, time is precious. Time is really precious. And so if you know you're going to enjoy something, why would you take a risk on something else? I completely get that. I completely get that one. Now, can I actually build that up? Yes, I can. Good. Because I'm going to need to. Can we get this done as a 7, please? The rest of the piping doesn't need to be happening anytime soon. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I don't see where you're coming from with that Demon Works, that it was more or less a rehash of Bad Wolf. Yeah, no, I completely see where you're coming from with that one. But yeah, again, I wouldn't say that Clara was the worst companion. I think there are examples of worse, but certainly not inspired in any particular way. It was I think Clara was a safe companion in lots of ways. Didn't push any kind of real boundaries. But that's quite comfortable sometimes. You don't always need to have something, you know, brand new and fanciful. Sometimes just going for comfy is good enough. But I totally see where you're coming from, though. I've been really enjoying this conversation, I'm not gonna lie. I've been considering, and I've mentioned this before, and I'm still considering. I don't know, just having some sort of like dabbling book club or something along those lines, where we just chat about the fiction and stuff that we read or watch. It doesn't necessarily need to be a book club per se, but something along those lines. When those inclined to share and discuss and digest the various fictions can chat about it. Oh my lord, really? Another cool Steam vent? How many cool... There's so much water on this map. There were some bad companions in old years. Honestly, Aavak, after you watch Dark, I really, really want you to stream your thoughts. Okay. Well, from the premise that Lady Sheila has told me, there was this... I can't remember now. I can't remember the name of the anime, but it reminded me of it. It was a bit of a weird one. You know how sometimes, in a way, they're almost that's almost only possible in anime. You can take an idea and it can be really bizarre and make something of it, and it, without wanting to spoil anything of it, it basically involved oh man, I don't think there is a way I could even begin to describe the plot without spoiling massive parts of it, but it was a real brain twister. Like some of the really indie movies are sometimes, where it's just like you could never get a studio to greenlight anything even remotely as psychedelic and just bizarre as this, but somehow it was made, and it is glorious in the way that only such things can be. Okay, I do believe we have a battle already, my lord. I'm going to have to remember this. Talking about Doctor Who makes time disappear. Yeah, like Inception. Inception's a great film. I still haven't actually seen Inception. But enough people whose opinions I know I generally agree with have told me, you need to. It's just a matter of time. But I have a vague idea of the plot. Just because, Inception was such a big thing that more or less everyone has been exposed to it on some degree. I need to check for natural gas, and if it is not natural gas, then I want it evacuated. Is Aavak talking about Jupiter ascending? No. No, I'm not talking about Jupiter ascending. Honestly, Jupiter ascending was... It wasn't really that... I mean, I wouldn't say anything in Jupiter ascending was particularly out there, honestly. It was kind of sci-fi tropes. A lot of them. All in one place. And it was kind of great, and it was funny. Kind of like Valarian, the city, what was it, City of a Thousand Planets or something like that. Loads of tropes, just lots of funny brain junk food. But there was nothing really weird there that your brain was like, oh, I don't know how to process this. I'm going to need to unpack this for a little while. I'm going to be thinking about this while I'm trying to sleep for the next few days. But anyway, let's jump over to Stream Readers.